Hey folks, I'm Professor Darius. Welcome back to African Elements. Welcome if you're new. Today, we're diving deep into a culture that's as resilient as it is rich, the Gullah Geechee people. This isn't just another episode, it's an invitation to explore a world that's been overlooked for far too long. So let's get started. Imagine being uprooted from your homeland and transported across the Atlantic along the treacherous Middle Passage. You find yourself sold into slavery in a strange land and are forced to rely on the skills you brought with you from Africa to survive. But you also combine them with new skills you have adopted. This is where the Gullah Geechee story begins. A story not just of survival, but of a culture that refused to be erased. The Gullah Geechee culture is rooted in Africa, but their journey was far more complex and harrowing. Many were first transported to the Caribbean, where they underwent a brutal process known as seasoning. Seasoning wasn't some benign term. It was a calculated, cruel system designed to break enslaved Africans, to strip them of their identity and humanity. This process could last up to 2 years, and many didn't survive. Some who did were then sold to plantations in what we now know as the Gullah Geechee corridor, stretching from North Carolina to Florida. Many eventually took root in the Sea Islands off the coast of South Carolina. Eventually, these islands became a sanctuary where African traditions could survive and eventually thrive, far away from the mainland's oppressive reach. But let's not gloss over the dark history here. The Gullah were sought after for their expertise in rice farming, a skill that made the plantations profitable. This expertise was a double-edged sword. It made them invaluable to slave owners and gave them a unique position to preserve their culture and community. Rice wasn't just a crop. It was a lifeline. It was the skill that made them indispensable and the thread that connected them to their African and Caribbean roots. This agricultural know-how became a form of resistance, a way to carve out a space of autonomy in a world that sought to strip them of their humanity. That's the reason why Gullah cuisine is a culinary map tracing back to African roots, influenced by local resources and perfected over generations. It's not just food, it's history on a plate. Dishes like gumbo and okra soup are culinary time capsules, each ingredient telling a story of migration, adaptation, and survival. Their Creole language is another aspect of their adaptation. Creole generally refers to a stable, fully developed natural language that arises from mixing 2 or more languages. But in the Gullah context, it's so much more. Originally, Creole referred to the first generation born in the American colonies to African parents. It's a term that captures the essence of being born into a new world while carrying the legacy of the old. This first generation had to adapt, to blend, to create something new, and that's where the Gullah Creole language comes into play. But why does this matter? Their Creole language became a tool for cultural survival as a means to preserve and embed their African heritage within the language itself. It's a language that defies erasure, a language of resilience. The same is true of music and art. Music is more than melody, it's memory, it's identity. The Gullah people have used instruments like these to keep their heritage alive. Each strum, each note, is a piece of a puzzle that makes up a vibrant cultural landscape. The banjo, for instance, has its roots in African string instruments, while the fiddle incorporates both African and European influences. Together, they create a unique sound that's unmistakably Gullah. Their heritage is also interlaced with their crafts. These crafts are not mere objects, they're narratives woven into form. They tell stories of resistance, community, and people who turned hardship into artistry. Take the sweetgrass baskets, for example. This intricate craft has been passed down through generations, originating from West African weaving techniques. Each basket is more than a functional item. It's a piece of history, a testament to the skill and ingenuity of the Gullah people. The Gullah culture is a living, evolving narrative that offers invaluable insights into the resilience and creativity of the human spirit. We've only barely scratched the surface here. If you're intrigued and want to dig deeper, check out a more detailed explanation in the full article at the link below. This isn't just another episode, it's a call to action. Learn more, dig deeper, and let the Gullah experience inspire you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories from history. Special shout out to the history makers in our Patreon community. You can join them for just $1 a month and get early access to ad-free videos. I'm Professor Darius, and until next time, I'll see you in the comments.